The problem wasn't that the victim was alive. The problem was that I had already read her autopsy report, and I could still remember the exact phrasing used to describe how she died. They closed the case on a Tuesday. I remember because the courthouse flag was still at half-staff from something else, something unrelated, and it made the press photos look more dramatic than they needed to be. A clean ending, a guilty verdict, a suspect in cuffs. Everyone went home feeling like the system had worked. I was assigned to archive the file. That's how I got pulled into it. Not as an investigator, not as a hero, just someone whose job it was to make sure everything was properly labeled, scanned, and stored. The victim's name was Claire Holloway, 32 years old, reported missing 8 months earlier, found in a wooded drainage area just outside the city limits. Dental records confirmed identity, DNA confirmed identity. Cause of death listed as blunt force trauma followed by environmental exposure. The suspect was her ex-boyfriend. History of domestic disputes, cell phone pings near the site, fibers in his car matching fibers from her jacket. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. I remember flipping through the exhibits, photos I didn't want to look at, transcripts I didn't want to read twice. Everything lined up. Too clean. But that's not unusual once a case has been packaged for court. 3 weeks after sentencing, I was back at my desk when the receptionist called my extension. She asked me if I knew a Claire Holloway. I told her yes. I asked why. She said there was a woman downstairs asking to see her own case file. I laughed at first, just a reflex. I told her that wasn't possible. There was a pause on the line, longer than it should have been. Then she said, "She has ID." I went down anyway, mostly out of irritation. I assumed it was a mistake, a shared name, a mental health situation, something we'd redirect to the proper department. She was sitting in the plastic chair by the security desk. Same height listed in the report, same hair color, same thin scar just under the left eyebrow. I knew that scar because it had been noted during intake, distinguishing feature. She looked up when I approached, and she said my name. I hadn't introduced myself. She asked if the case was really closed. Her voice was calm, not panicked, not angry, just confused. I told her she was listed as deceased. She nodded slowly, like she had already considered that possibility. Then she said something I still haven't found a way to file properly in my head. She said, "They got the date wrong. It was raining when I died." I didn't know what to say, because according to the report, the night of her death was clear, cold, no precipitation. She followed me into a small interview room. No recording, no paperwork yet, just me and a woman who legally should not exist. She knew the layout of the drainage area. She knew the position her body was found in. She knew which ring had been removed before photographs were taken. That detail wasn't in the public record. She said she woke up in a hospital she didn't recognize. No name on the door, no visitors. Her wristband had the wrong birthday. When she asked a nurse what happened, the nurse told her she'd been in an accident and needed rest. 2 days later, her room was empty. No staff, no equipment plugged in. She walked out on her own. I checked the DNA results that afternoon. Again, blood from the crime scene matched the victim at a level that made coincidence statistically impossible. I checked the dental charts. Perfect alignment. I checked the photos. The body in the photos looked like her, but once I had her sitting across from me, alive, breathing, tapping her fingers on the table, something shifted. I noticed the ears, slightly different shape, the hands, calluses in places not noted before. Small things, the kinds of things you don't question when a narrative is already locked in. We escalated it. Of course we did. Internal review, prosecutor notified, defense attorney notified. And then something strange happened. The digital court record updated. No alert, no logged edit, just updated. The victim's status field changed from deceased to status under review. No one admitted to doing it. IT said the timestamp didn't match any user session. Meanwhile, the man convicted of her murder was still in prison And now there was a living woman asking why someone was serving time for killing her. The system didn't know what to do with that. A new DNA test was ordered. This time, it came back inconclusive. Not mismatched, not excluded. Inconclusive. The lab tech quietly told me it was like comparing two samples that were the same person at different times. I asked what that meant. He said he didn't know how else to phrase it. Claire was interviewed multiple times, by police, by attorneys, by a court-appointed psychologist. Her story never changed. She remembered being attacked. She remembered losing consciousness. She remembered pain. She remembered dying. That's how she said it. Not almost dying, not thinking she died. Dying. She described the cold, the pressure, the moment everything went quiet. Then, waking up. What would you think if this happened to you? If the world decided you were finished and moved on without checking? The strangest part wasn't her return. It was how quickly everyone wanted it to go away. The prosecutor filed a motion to delay any retrial proceedings. The defense filed for review. The judge scheduled hearings. And the case file kept changing. Footnotes appeared. Language softened. Certain phrases removed. The autopsy report was amended to include uncertainty, then amended again to include alternative interpretations. No signatures, just updates. One night, I printed the file to compare side by side. The printer jammed halfway through. When I cleared it, the last page was different. It included a paragraph stating the conviction remains valid based on the totality of evidence, regardless of victim status. I never found who added it. Eventually, a decision came down. The conviction would stand. The case would remain closed. Clara Holloway was issued new ID, different middle name, different social security number. Officially, she was not the same person. I asked what that made her. No one answered directly. The system had an outcome already. Changing it would require admitting something had gone wrong at every level. So it didn't. Claire stopped returning calls after that. I don't know where she went. Sometimes I wonder if she ever really came back, or if she was something the system produced to correct an inconsistency. I still work in records. Every once in a while when I open that file, it opens to the same page. The verdict. If this case unsettled you, you already know why. Share your theory in the comments. Like the video if it stayed with you longer than you expected, and subscribe for more Shadow Case files. Some cases don't need the truth. They just need an ending.